Plant FAQs. Abutilon Savitzii. What is Abutilon Savitzii? Abutilon Savitzii, also known as Savitzii maple or the Indian abutilon, is a captivating evergreen shrub native to tropical regions. This plant is prized for its lush, green foliage and striking bell-shaped flowers. I found it to be an excellent choice for adding a touch of exotic beauty to gardens and indoor spaces alike. Its vibrant blooms and versatile growth make it a favorite among plant enthusiasts. See more 178 species in genus Abutilon at monsteraholic.com. How to care for Abutilon Savitzii. Caring for Abutilon Savitzii can be quite rewarding. Here's what I've learned through my experience. Light. This plant thrives in bright, indirect light. I've noticed that it does well near a window that receives filtered sunlight. Direct sunlight can scorch its leaves, so it's best to avoid that. Watering. Abutilon Savitzii prefers consistently moist soil. I make sure to water it when the top inch of soil feels dry. Overwatering can lead to root rot, so it's important not to keep the soil soggy. Humidity. This plant enjoys a humid environment. I often mist it or use a humidity tray to keep the air around it moist. During the dry winter months, a humidifier can be beneficial. Temperature. It's best to keep Abutilon Savitzii in temperatures between 60 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 to 24 degrees Celsius. It's sensitive to frost, so if you're growing it outdoors, make sure to protect it during colder months. Fertilizing. I feed my Abutilon Savitzii with a balanced liquid fertilizer every 4 to 6 weeks during the growing season. This helps promote healthy growth and abundant flowering. How to propagate Abutilon Savitzii. Propagating Abutilon Savitzii can be quite straightforward if you follow these steps. Cuttings. The easiest way to propagate is through cuttings. I take 4 to 6 inch cuttings from the plant, making sure they have at least 2 nodes. Dip the cut ends in rooting hormone. Planting. I plant the cuttings in a pot with well-draining soil. Keeping the soil consistently moist and covering the pot with a plastic bag helps create a humid environment that encourages root development. Care. Place the pot in a bright, indirect light location. After a few weeks, I gently tug on the cuttings to check for root growth. Once they're established, I transplant them into larger pots or directly into the garden. What to plant with Abutilon Savitzii? In my garden, I've paired Abutilon Savitzii with various plants to create a stunning display. It complements other tropical plants like bird of paradise and hibiscus. For a mixed border, combining it with foliage plants such as hostas or ferns can create a lush, layered effect. How to use Abutilon Savitzii in landscaping. Abutilon Savitzii works beautifully in both garden beds and containers. I've used it as a focal point in a garden bed, where its unique flowers and foliage stand out. In containers, it makes a striking addition to patios and balconies. It can also be used as a hedge or screen due to its dense growth. Is Abutilon Savitzii toxic? One of the questions I often get is about toxicity. Abutilon Savitzii is generally considered non-toxic to humans and pets. However, as with any plant, it's a good practice to keep it out of reach of children and pets to avoid any accidental ingestion. Common pests and problems. Abutilon Savitzii is relatively hardy but can face a few issues. Spider mites. In dry conditions, spider mites may appear. I've managed this by increasing humidity and occasionally wiping the leaves with a damp cloth. Aphids. These small pests can be controlled with insecticidal soap or by rinsing the plant with water. Leaf drop. If you notice the plant dropping leaves, it could be a sign of overwatering or underwatering. Adjusting the watering schedule usually helps. How to prune Abutilon Savitzii. Pruning is essential for maintaining the shape and health of Abutilon Savitzii. I usually prune it in late winter or early spring before new growth begins. This encourages a bushier growth habit and removes any dead or damaged stems. I also trim back any long or leggy growth to promote a more compact form. Abutilon Savitzii is a wonderful plant to grow, whether you're an experienced gardener or just starting out. With the right care, it can bring a splash of color and elegance to your space.